Welcome to the Dad and Cole Football Patrol.
Yeah, I am Dad.
And I am Cole.
So guys, big NFL 2018 draft this past weekend, so we're going to get into some and talk about that. Any big reactions from you about the draft, Cole?
Baker Mayfield going to the Browns.
Yeah, I agree. So let's get into this. I think this was probably the biggest surprise of the draft. Baker Mayfield taken number 1 by the Cleveland Browns. And I got to at least give them credit. I mean, they're not caring about what anyone on the outside thinks. They're not caring about going with the conventional pick, which I think a lot of people thought might have been Sam Darnold or perhaps Saquon Barkley. So Baker Mayfield is a Cleveland Brown with the number 1 pick. What do you think? How's that going to turn out for them?
I thought they could have took like Sam Darnold, but like I didn't think Saquon Barkley could fit because I really think they need a quarterback, even though they have Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah, I agree. So they made the trade for Tyrod Taylor to get the veteran presence at the position to stabilize it a little bit. I think everyone knew all along they'd still be in the market to try and get themselves their long-term franchise type of guy. They're hoping they have that in Baker Mayfield. I think a lot of that remains to be seen. I think we've seen that kind of player before. I kind of think of like a Tim Tebow, which I get it. I think Mayfield, by most expert opinions, has a much more complete and better throwing motion.
I would probably think of him like a Johnny Manziel, maybe.
Well, I think you're bringing up the other name that probably makes Cleveland Browns fans really afraid in the comparison. Yeah, Johnny Manziel flamed out in Cleveland. They're hoping it's not Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football Part 2, but they're hoping they have a real deal quarterback here. I hope it goes well for the Cleveland fans. They've been through enough. They're a good fan base. I hope Baker Mayfield for Cleveland and for the league as a whole does a great job. I like Hugh Jackson, the head coach there. So here's the hoping for you, Cleveland, that you guys did find your future. Now let me ask you this. Do you think he has a chance to start from day one, or do you think they're going to let Tyrod Taylor be the guy and just let Baker Mayfield sit and learn? Or do you think it'll be a true competition and that he has a chance to play?
I think he'll be like a starter all year.
Oh, so you think he's going to come in and he's going to supplant Tyrod Taylor and he's going to be the guy from day one? Yeah, I don't think that's a far-fetched scenario. I think we've seen things like this before. When a team invests such a high pick as the number 1 overall, I think there might be some pressure to get him on the field from day one. And if he performs well in preseason, and if Taylor even slips up a little bit, I wouldn't be shocked to see Baker Mayfield from day one.
Maybe you could like compare like him to Tyrod Taylor, but like if like maybe like whoever does better can like start like the season, or like if it's like tied, they have to like do it again or something like that.
Yeah, I think like you're saying is right. It's going to be a competition. There's going to be a lot of eyes on him in the preseason games, and perhaps whoever shakes out as the best man with the best plays ends up starting. So I don't think it's guaranteed just because Taylor's the veteran that he's going to start.
In pick 2, the Giants select running back Saquon Barkley from Penn State.
Yeah, so Saquon Barkley, I think...
Best player in the draft.
Right. I think he's the unanimous pick for the absolute best player in the draft, regardless of position. How do you think he fits in with the New York Football Giants?
I think he could like be a running back MVP player or something. Like maybe he could like help them go to the Super Bowl or something. But like...
Yeah, I think you're hitting on it, Cole. I think he's this kind of like once-a-decade type of player. I think his skill set and his talent is at that kind of level where you can consider him for an MVP. And as far as being an Eagles fans, which we make no apologies, or we're both Birds fans wearing our Eagles shirts, I'm a little frightened of having to play him 2 times a year. I think Barkley's going to have a veteran behind him in Eli Manning, and I think it's scary what they can do. All right, buddy, so let's go over the remainder of the top 5, and then we'll also just talk about some other highlights and some intriguing things for the overall first round of the NFL draft. Number 3, New York Jets. Who'd they go with?
Sam Darnold, quarterback from...
USC, right? Yeah, so Sam Darnold, I think most people thought he was kind of the clear-cut top quarterback guy to be drafted because maybe he was most pro ready.
Wasn't the first quarterback drafted though?
Right, he wasn't the first one taken, but I think a lot of people thought he was gonna be. So that just goes to show you how much of a guessing game it is. But I think the Jets clearly need a quarterback. They have a great veteran there, McCown, who can take this guy under his wing. And I think everyone thought that was just an obvious, clear fit by the Jets. So now we go back to pick number 4. Cleveland Browns are back on the clock.
They select Denzel Ward.
Yeah, Denzel Ward at cornerback. Now, I think you and I were both expecting Bradley Chubb, defensive end, to be picked here by the Cleveland Browns.
I was not expecting Bradley Chubb. I was expecting Micah Fitzpatrick.
Oh, so you knew that they were going to go defensive backfield. So maybe it was just me who was thinking Bradley Chubb here. But yeah, they went with a cornerback from Ohio State and Denzel Ward. Cleveland clearly needs help on both sides of the ball, so they got themselves a top-flight cornerback prospect. And then rounding out the top 5, we have now the Denver Broncos, and they go ahead and get Bradley Chubb. They had to be thrilled that he dropped to number 5 to them. Most people, pretty unanimous, thought he was the best defensive pass rusher in the draft. Your thoughts, the Broncos getting Chubb?
I think that, I forgot that they got, Case Keenum, so I thought they were going to take a quarterback. But then I remembered they got Case Keenum in free agency.
Yeah.
And I think that would be a good fit because they really need, help on defense. But, it could be, he could not, take over Von Miller's position. He could take over, the other defensive end.
Yeah, so I think you're making a great point, Cole. Von Miller, probably one of the top 3 pass rushers, if not even the best in the whole league. He's now going to have a stud counterpart on the other end, and those two are going to be wreaking havoc on quarterbacks throughout the league. So great pick by the Broncos. All right, buddy, so let's talk about quarterbacks. There are 5 quarterbacks taken in the first round. We already spent some time talking about Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold. So at pick number 7, the Buffalo Bills trade up with the Bucs, and they make a move, and they took
Josh Allen.
Yeah, that's right, Josh Allen.
Favorite quarterback in the draft.
Yeah, you were all over him this winter. You really thought that he was a guy that wasn't getting spoken enough with the Sam Darnolds of the world.
He has the best arm in the league.
Yeah, and I think the Buffalo Bills would agree with you, so that's why they got aggressive. They moved up and took the Bucs spot, and they're hoping they have their next 10-plus year quarterback now in Buffalo. Now after that, at pick number 10, you have the Arizona Cardinals trading up with the Oakland Raiders, and the Arizona Cardinals take Josh Rosen, quarterback from UCLA. Now, I think this is another guy, along with Sam Darnold I talk about, Cole, that most people think is most quarterback ready to step in and play from day one. The Cardinals signed Sam Bradford to a 1-year deal, so I don't think it would be crazy or...
But, Josh Rosen, he has David Johnson, Larry Fitzgerald, Christian Kirk. That's 3 good receivers that he has.
Yeah, so he's stepping into a team with some skill set. I don't know a ton about college guys, but from the feedback I've heard and the experts I've heard, they say Josh Rosen has maybe some of the best pure passing abilities and mechanics as a player. I wouldn't be shocked if he's starting day one. Sam Bradford has a big injury history, so we'll see what happens there.
If he starts the first game and the first play the whole entire game, they have the ball and he gets sacked and he gets hurt.
I don't think that would be a shock to anyone who's followed Sam Bradford's career. And then rounding out the quarterbacks, pick number 32, that's where our Philadelphia Eagles were supposed to pick, but they make a trade with the Baltimore Ravens, and what happens there?
They get Lamar Jackson, my second favorite quarterback in the whole draft.
Yeah, you love Lamar Jackson from Louisville, and I want to go on record right now. Joe Flacco, I think you're going to have some competition here. I don't think it's guaranteed that Joe Flacco is going to be starting day one. I think Flacco's had an incredible career, But I think the
And
NFL...
Lamar Jackson in the combine, he didn't run the 40 because they already knew how fast he was.
Oh, so he opted not to do it, right? That's a new trend with a lot of the younger guys. They're just holding themselves out from doing these sprints and conditioning things because they think it can only potentially hurt their draft value. But I just think Flacco style, he's kind of a bit of a statue in the pocket. I think teams look to have more of a dynamic presence and more athletic plays from their quarterback and running and ability. And I just think Lamar Jackson has a real shot to go in there and start from day one. All right, so we talked about some of the quarterbacks that went. Let's move over to the other side of the ball, to the defense. Pardon me from reading. I just want to make sure I get the information right here, Cole. So 2 defenses that were stout defenses last year made an additional pick in the first round to add to their guys. So the Vikings at pick number 30 get a cornerback from Central Florida, Mike Hughes. Jacksonville Jaguars, 1 pick ahead of them at pick number 29. They get Taven Bryan from Florida, defensive tackle. So 2 good defenses last year, pick up some more assets. Your thoughts on the rich getting richer on the defensive side of the ball?
I think the Jaguars could have taken a cornerback.
Yeah, you think so? So you think they shouldn't have gone D-line like they did? They should have stuck in the defensive backfield?
Or maybe they could have took a wide receiver.
Well, yeah, they did lose both Hearns and Robinson,
Yeah.
right? They lost both their targets at wide out. Yeah, so that's an interesting thought on your part, but they look to strengthen up the defense. I think they're clearly making the statement that they're going to win with defense down in Jacksonville. They have an aggressive, young, up-and-coming defense, and they added another asset to that side of the ball. So some other guys on the defensive side of the field that got added to rosters. Cole, I know this is one of your favorites. Minka Fitzpatrick from Alabama. He's heading to the Dolphins. He was a number 11 pick. You like Alabama defensive guys, don't you? And then we also have at pick number 17, the Chargers pick up a safety from Florida State, Derwin James.
I like him a lot too.
Yeah, you're a big Derwin James guy. And then number 28, the Steelers, they get Terrell Edmonds, safety out of Virginia Tech. So Cole, when you look at offense versus defense in the first round, it was really split. There was 2 additional offensive guys, so there were 17 total offensive players taken.
And 15 total defensive players.
Yeah, 15 on the defensive side to round out the 32 picks. So really it was kind of almost an even split amongst both sides of the field. All right, so as far as the New England Patriots, they had 2 picks in the first round. I think a lot of teams perhaps expected them to go and get their future replacement for Brady. But Bill Belichick and the Patriots never wanted to do what conventional wisdom would think. So they went with their first pick at number 23, Isaiah Wynn, an offensive tackle from Georgia. That move makes sense to me because they lost as a Nate Solder in free agency, right? They lost a lineman, and then they came back a few picks later at pick number 31, Sonny Michel. I think I'm pronouncing that last name right. Running back from Georgia. I think Georgia had 2 good running backs. I think Chubb was the other one. But they went with the more, I think, kind of speedier wide receiver type running back out of Georgia with Michel. So your thoughts on what the Patriots did?
I think that they really could have used a wide receiver because they lost Danny Amendola, Brandon Cooks, but they still have Julio Edelman.
Yeah, Edelman, and if Gronk comes back, they still have Gronk as one of the top tight ends. But what they did do, I think both you and I think makes sense. It's 2 positions of need for them, having lost Solder and then also Deion Lewis. So they're replacing with some younger, hopefully upstart players of the roster. And then the Seattle Seahawks, perhaps they ended their running back carousel and their woes at running back, themselves landing Rashad Penny from San Diego State. So Seattle clearly needed help at that position, and they got themselves a running back. So guys, who is your favorite team in the NFL, and what move did they make? Did you like it? Are you excited about it? Please do leave a comment. We want to hear from you. And if this is your first time checking out our channel, the Dad and Cole Football Patrol, please do hit subscribe. We'd love to count on you as an active member of our football family. Anything else, Cole?
I'm rooting for the Packers because they have someone named Cole too.
That's right. They drafted a guy, Cole, so you were pretty excited about that, weren't you? Mm-hmm. Yeah, awesome. All right, guys, till next time, Cole?
Yep.
All right, see you later.